The best of the Morning X on 99X. Barnes, Leslie, and Jimmy. The original 99X.
Interesting story here. We bring on a gentleman by the name of Mark Dunn in New York City. We spoke about Mark a few weeks ago. There was a story on Dateline that had rerun. Mark is a playwright in New York who had written a play called Frank's Place. Is it Frank's World?
It's Frank's Life.
Frank's Life, I'm sorry. And Mark currently is involved in a lawsuit with Columbia?
No, it's with Paramount.
Okay, I have a couple of my facts right. Nevertheless, I know this much.
You are Mark Dunn, right?
Yeah, you are.
That's right. Well, remember, Paramount's the one that everyone sues. Maybe that'll keep it in your mind.
Now, is that right?
Yeah, they've been involved in so many different lawsuits over the last several years.
Well, first of all, let's explain what the lawsuit is regarding. This lawsuit claims that the movie The Truman Show was, for all intents and purposes, a direct lift
from his play,
Frank's Life.
That's right.
Now, when you say that Paramount is the studio that everyone sues, I mean, don't they all get sued a lot?
Yeah, I mean that's like the how business is done out in Hollywood. I mean it's really sad when you think about it. But Paramount has actually suffered more than its share of lawsuits. I don't know if that's just the luck of the draw or really their scruples are so diminished by what they've been doing all these years. I don't know.
Well, did you go see The Truman Show and you went, hey, wait a minute, or did someone come to you way in advance and say, hey, you know what, Paramount's working on this movie and it sounds disturbingly a lot like your play?
Well, believe it or not, I found out about it way back in 1995. A friend of mine called and said, hey, you got to read this article in Premiere Magazine because this new Jim Carrey movie sounds a whole lot like your play. So I got a copy of the magazine. I read it. I even contacted the magazine and said, how do I get my hands on a bootleg copy of the script? And they said, hey, we'll send you a copy, because I think they hinted there might be a story there.
Really?
So here I was at home reading this first screenplay, and it's just like frightening how close it was to the play. At that point, I went looking for a lawyer.
Now, everybody knows that studios routinely get sued by everybody and their uncle because, it's like in the story the one lawyer for the studio said, everybody's aunt said they wrote E.T.
But I never hear about anybody winning and beating the movie studios.
Well, why is your suit a little different?
Well, actually, my lawyer says this is the best copyright infringement case he's ever seen.
And why?
It kind of makes me feel good.
Why does he say that?
Because there's so many similarities between the play and the movie, and also because there were just so many different points of access in which they would have had an opportunity to have taken the play. I mean, not only did the play run for 3 months in the summer of '92, but it made the rounds among the studios. It was looked at by Fox. It was looked at by Paramount. So a lot of people knew about this play in a lot of different ways.
One of the things that I had mentioned when we first talked about your case was that, and I just saw the story on Dateline, and I thought, just for Dateline to even spend 20 minutes devoting an entire story to this case, to me says that there's something there, because Dateline is a pretty legitimate news magazine that would not waste 20 minutes about on a story that had no substance whatsoever.
Well, Dateline gave us a real fair shake. I really appreciate it. I mean, it's not my fault that everyone else on the other side of the case wasn't allowed to talk about the case. So
who claims to be the writer of The Truman Show?
The screenplay was written by a gentleman by the name of Andrew Nichol.
And how would he have had access to your play?
Well, see, this is the thing. You don't have a definite paper trail. All you can do is say, here are all the different places where someone could have seen it or someone could have picked up the script.
What makes you think that one of them
what's so definite in it that
saw the show?
Well, it's an if P then Q thing, because once you show all those points of access, then if you can present, in our case, 149 similarities between the two, and some of them very, very strong.
There are 149 similarities between your play and The Truman Show?
That's right. Those are what we came up with in the complaint, and there actually are probably a lot more than that.
What year did your script make the rounds in Hollywood?
It was the summer of '92.
What's the biggest similarity between the both?
I think the biggest similarity are the characters. Every character in the play has sort of a counterpart in the movie, which is kind of scary.
And Leslie, what was your question just a minute ago?
Well, his script made the rounds in 1992 in
Right.
Hollywood to various movie companies.
And who at Paramount do you think would have seen your play? Or in other words, how do you suppose it had been lifted?
Well, like I say, you really won't be able to point the finger. All you can really say is, the script was there. A lot of people had access to it.
Well, talk about the one producer that got mentioned in the Dateline piece.
Well, we actually at this point we had 5 defendants, and because 2 of the film distributors merged, we now have 4 defendants. But one of the 4 defendants is Scott Rudin, who's like one of the biggest producers in Hollywood right now. And he's been affiliated with Paramount for quite a while. They've made several movies together.
And did he see the show? Did he see Frank's Place or Frank's Life?
All I know is that my agent invited him or someone from his company to come and see it. So there was an invitation on the table. And also because this gentleman is very active in New York theater, it's really hard to believe that he wouldn't have known about the play.
What dollar amount are you asking for?
By law, we're allowed to ask for 100% of the gross, and in this, so what we had to, back when the movie first came out was when I filed the suit, so we had to pull a dollar figure out of the air, and so we decided $200 million sounded about how much this movie would make. And I don't know what the current figures are, but I think it's getting pretty close.
Has it gone that high though? It wasn't a huge commercial success.
Oh, it's well over $100 million now.
After
and
Europe,
it's
being
piling
Europe
them up in Europe and video sales and
Yeah, I'm
stuff.
sure it's over $100 million. Yeah, easily.
So where does it stand right now?
Oh, we're slogging through the court right now. Moving toward trial. I don't know when that will be, but it's these things. I think Buchwald's case took like 7 years to reach some kind of resolution.
Are you talking about Art Buchwald's case against Eddie Murphy?
Yeah, yeah, for the Coming to America movie. That just dragged on for years.
Did he win that, Art Buchwald?
I believe he did.
And
if he didn't win, there was a settlement, but I'm not sure about the details
Which
on that one.
is most likely. I mean, I'm sure you're obviously not stupid. You realize that most likely what'll happen here is some kind of settlement. They're not going to give you 100% of the gross.
Right.
If
and
they
we settle
offered
this
you,
thing, I'm not going to be complaining. I know this has eaten up my life and my wife's life, and
Sure.
we're ready to move on.
You won't believe where this is headed. More after a quick break. This story isn't over. You're on the best of the Morning X on 99X.